Hi my muddy people, welcome back. I'm Nat at Mud Magic. Thank you for joining me again for another Stevie the Wonder Wheel throwing session. So I've had a few people ask me how to do the oil pourer, olive oil pourer, salad pourer jugs with the, well not really jugs, but you know, pourers with these little things and how to collar and all that sort of thing. So I thought I'm going to do one now. I might as well video and put it up if it works. So I've marbled my brown and white, but this time I did the 4 in 4 quarters. So I just did 400 grams of each color, cut it in half, so 200 of each, and then put them in quarters. Haven't wedged, haven't done anything else. So let's just go for it. I actually just did one of these and it worked really well, and I was like, oh, why didn't I video it? So I thought I'll do another one. Why not? I've got the clay here. These were going to be bowls, but that's all right. I thought I'll just do it. Well, I've got the clay here ready to go. I'll do it. So the one I just did, interestingly, was a different marbling where I put the patties one on top of each other instead of in quarters like this one, and wedged it just a tiny little bit. So it will be interesting to see the difference in the marbling when I finish this one, if this one works. So we want it to be tall, so we start with a bit of a taller puck. And then I don't want to put a foot on these because I want them to be quite flat and stable on the table, stable table. So I don't worry about how, like leaving a lot of clay in the bottom. I don't need to worry about that because I don't want to put a foot in it. Just personal preference. You can if you want. I don't put feet in vases either for the same reason. I want the stability. Not that they're unstable with a foot in them if the foot's done properly, but personal preference, artist's choice. So again, as I always say, pulling inwards to the center. Regardless of anything that you're doing, even with, you would have just seen on my previous V-shaped bowls, you want them to go out massively. You still start by going inwards because gravity will kill you if you go outwards. So with these, of course, at the top we want them to be quite thin and for where the spout's going to go, which is another reason to keep them going inwards. However, you've got to be able to get your hand in now for pulling, so you don't want to collar it too much, but anyway, you still want it going inwards. So again, as I always say, if you get a wonky rim, don't cut it until the end because it's only going to go wonky again with your throws. It's actually got a lump in it. And also with these, because you're going to want to pull up the neck part, you want a bit of clay at the top, but when you collar it back in, you will get that clay back because you're pushing it in so far that all that clay, all the clay you're pushing in from the walls gives you a bit of thickness to play with anyway, so it's not too big of a deal. So on my last video I did the marbling, and I was saying it's magic when you reveal that marbling because it just looks like muddy brown at the moment, but hopefully underneath there's some beautiful marbling, but we shall see later. Not just yet, you have to wait. So with marbling, you do tend to get quite a few air bubbles, which this piece has got. So you can't really wedge it. So if you wedge it, you'll lose your marbling. So you do often have this wobbly rim problem, but that's okay. I'll get that. I'll cut the top off it. Now actually, before I squeeze that in, I'll put a bit of water in the bottom. So with these, you really want to make sure you get all your water out before you collar, because you can't get in there obviously. So I'm going to rib it. So see how mucky and muddy it is and how horrible brown it is. This is the Mud Magic. Actually, I'll just and press this wall, which will show you the beautiful marbling. It's like Mud Magic. Look at that. That's a beautiful one. Trace will love that one because it's the bigger. She likes the bigger marbling, which I do too. I love all of it. I'm not discriminatory around my marbling. So we're going to lose that again right now because I only did that to compress the walls, and you'll be like, what are you doing? But I did it because I want to start shaping it. So I'm going to just put a bit more water. I just get that out before I collar the top. So I'm just going to do one last pull, just a gentle pull, but mainly the shaping. So I like a bit of a belly on these. And then you've got to get your water out because I'm going to do the collaring now. So this part is really, really, really touch and go, well not touch and go, experimenting this next bit with your own clay, with your own shrink rate. See what what your shrink rate needs. Nice. So my clay, just so you know for your own reference, in case you're lucky and yours is the same, my clay is 13% shrink rate. So this is how I do it. So I just collar in. So see, I'm not going in and up, because if you go in and up really sharply, it will flop here. You want an angle, plus it looks nice. And this is where I was saying that because I'm collaring all this clay back in, it's getting my walls at the top thicker, which is great because then it gives me clay to play with when I want to change where the little bit is going to insert. So you can see that's a shocker of a top, which is normal with these, with the marbling and with collaring in that much, you often get that. Just cut it off. So now, from being quite a thin wall, it's very thick, which is good because now I can pull it. Just trying to wet just this top bit here where I'm going to pull, because I don't want all the water to dribble down and then I'll get S-crap issues because I can't get in there to get the water out. If you're brave enough, you can, without wiring it off, pull the bat off and tip the whole thing upside down and get your water out if you forgot or if you left too much water in there, but I prefer not to risk that. I know you can do it, and I mean, I turn my flop bowls upside down and leave them upside down for like 4 or 5 hours and they stick, they don't fall off the bat. So as long as you haven't wired it off, you can do that. Okay, so then I get my little, this is just my tester one that I just always keep here. As you can see, it's all gone off center, but that doesn't matter because I just need it for the width. And then I just put it in. So with my clay, I want it to just slide in nicely. There's too much of a hole there. So I just know with my clay that that's too big of a hole, and you will learn that. So I'm lucky with a shrink rate of mine that if this slots in nicely, pretty much like that, maybe a tiny bit more. If it slots in nicely, I know it's right, which is great because I don't have to measure and calipers and whatever. So that's perfect. So it slots in, but I didn't have to push it in. Well, I think it is. We'll see in the kiln unload as to whether it actually is perfect or not. So now we will reveal that beautiful marbling again. As I always say with marbling, don't be too worried at this point of getting all, you know, revealing it all beautifully, because when you trim it, which I hate trimming these, you have to do it on what I call a chimney. My teacher used to hate that I would call it a chimney. Called it a chuck, but I would always forget the word, so I'd call it a chimney. And I hate using them because I just find the piece knocks and bobbles around and it just doesn't stay straight, and oh, it's horrible. So that's one part of these that I don't enjoy. You can I just threw my own chucks, chimneys. And I actually need to throw some more because I need taller ones. Mine are too short. So pieces like this hit the bottom. And then you can use a spirit level. I've got a bullseye spirit level, and you put your pot in, you put a bit of clay in so you don't ruin the ram. Like put a bit of clay around your chimney and to protect your pot. Put it in, put a spirit level on so you know you've got it level, and go for it, which is another reason why I don't put feet in, because if you don't have it level on the chimney, you won't get a flat foot. So that's another reason. It's not quite, perhaps a bit too angular for me. So you can, even though I can't get my hand inside, you can still a little bit use your rib. If it's only a little bit of shaping, obviously you wouldn't want to try and push it right in. You'll just push it off center, but you can do a little bit. So I don't know whether you noticed that, but I can see that that is less angular. It's just a tiny bit, but I'm just happier with it. And there's still a few little muddy lines there, but they're they will come off at trimming. But look at that beautiful marbling. Oh, I'm so happy with that one. So this is what I mean by a chimney or a chuck. So as you can see, that's not tall enough. I need to make taller ones, because when I tip that upside down, it might be okay. I think it will be just okay. So I put clay around here, which will actually bring this in and hold this up higher, if that makes sense, because the clay will make this hole smaller, so that will sit, probably be okay, this one. So you put that on your wheel. I've got a Giffen grip. I'm very lucky. I love my Giffen grip. So I Giffen grip, hold the chimney, and then put some clay around, put that upside down in there and trim away. And I've just got one of those bullseye spirit levels. So I put that on the foot, because that's upside down, to make sure it's level. Push it around a bit to get it level, and then go ahead and try and trim. So I'll finish this one off. Again, get your water off, and then wire it off. Happy with that? So the thing is as well with these, you can always sell them as a bud vase too, or when people go to buy them, you can even tell them that they can take, because this is removable. You push it in and out to refill your oil. So you take that back out. So they can actually take it out and use it as bud vase if they want. So it's like dual purpose. So that's that one done. Very, very happy with that. I love that. And then I'll just put it up there because it's tall. I'll show you the other one. So the other one's the one that I still only use the same amount of clay, and I did instead of doing the quarters, I did the patties, but then I wedged it a little bit, and look at how much of a difference it's made. Love it too. But it's the finer, smaller marbling. See if I can get both of them. So you've got your bigger marbling, your finer, smaller, same amount of clay. So there you go, interesting. Exactly the same amount of clay, just a different marbling technique gets you the different patterns. So that's it. You'll see them come through the kiln shortly. Thank you very much for joining me again. Stay muddy and have a magic day. Bye.